these different news outlets that basically are offering one set of opinions. And if there are two sets of opinions, then they're just yelling at each other.
He calls it a skinny budget. I call it something else that begins with S. Because this is a budget.
I think what is clear to anyone who looks at where the Democratic Party today is that the model of the Democratic Party is failing.
Well, there you have former President Obama, the head of the DNC, Tom Perez, and Bernie Sanders. And as you look at the latest poll, we referenced it earlier, the ABC Washington Post poll, one of the questions, in touch with concerns of most people in the U.S. today. And there you see in touch, out of touch, and where people stack up. We're back with the panel. Anna, are Democrats trying to find their way here?
I mean, I definitely think what we've seen is, right, that existential crisis that they've been going through for the past several months. I think Democrats on Capitol Hill feel like they've gotten some footing there in terms of some wins with the health care bill going down. They feel like the shutdown talk is good for them. But certainly out in the states, they're trying to find some kind of momentum to get their base riled up.
Doesn't seem like cursing is doing it.
I mean, I saw a few people making this analogy on social media, but Tom Perez comes across as sort of the kid in middle school who sees the popular guy curse and says, well, now I'm going to outdo him, and I'm going to say more curse words on television, and that'll make me cool, and it really doesn't.
I mean, he said in that speech, Mercedes, my mom told me never to use potty words, and then he uses potty words. I mean, Mom, step up.
As a mom, I would get the soap and wash his mouth with the soap if he uses the potty words. It was striking because wasn't it Michelle Obama who said, when they go low, we go high? Well, it seems like Democrats have decided to go low, but I think it's a bigger problem in the sense that the Democrats have lost their message in terms of they're supposed to be the party of the working class. They're supposed to be talking about how we're going to move the economy forward and help protect workers. And in essence, they're focused on the cultural issues, whether it be abortion rights or, as Tom Perez mentioned. I mean, there is this sense that they're so focused on the resistance that the resistance is almost becoming counterproductive for the party, and they're not really developing a message where just independence, and fine, it appeals to the liberal base, but it doesn't go beyond that.
It was striking to see former President Obama at that event. He did not mention President Trump. He didn't talk about any of the current controversies.
He was cool.
He stayed away from it.
Yeah, he was George W. Bushian in his opacity, in this vague, talking about things without talking about them. So he was fulfilling the role of a former president. But he has a conundrum, and the conundrum is, to Mercy's point, being anti. As the Republicans found out, being anti can be enough to win elections. They got both houses of Congress and the presidency, and about 1,000 state legislative seats on the grounds of being anti. The challenge for Obama is not just that message piece, but it's that the Clintons never quit. And so Obama wants to recede from the space. I'm going to be noble, I'm going to rise up here. Hillary Clinton, Chelsea Clinton, Bill Clinton are out there day in and day out on magazine covers, giving speeches, talking about the agenda of the Democratic Party. And for Obama, that must be crazy making. You say, I beat you once, you lost to Donald Trump once, and you people are still out there, still coming for this party. So he's got to be a voice to try to counterbalance that, but he can't run the party.
And the future of the party, when you look to the guy who gets the most attention, it's Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, who's a septuagenarian, right, and a socialist. So they have some issues over on the Democrat side, although, Brett, the numbers that you put up on screen at the beginning of the segment about who's in touch and who's out of touch, all of the numbers for Trump, the Republicans, Democrats, they're all terrible. The Democrats had the worst number of the bunch. I would caution conservatives, that is not enough to translate into don't worry about 2018, because Republicans polled in the toilet during 2010 and 2014 on a lot of metrics and still won big victories because the energy of their base and the enthusiasm was on their side.
And I quoted Tom Cole, Republican, saying you got to get something because you control the House, the Senate, and the White House.
And my colleague Alex Eisenstadt had a great piece today about this in terms of the nervousness that Republican donors and people in the states are having, whether or not the polls show yet these kind of health care outrage at the town halls. Those things were the beginnings of the Tea Party, right? I mean, when people kind of didn't take those seriously on the left, and that was all of a sudden the uprising for Republicans to take some of these majorities.
Panel, thank you very much. 5 p.m., a little earlier today. That's it for this panel.